Hello and welcome, everyone. We're just getting ready to start our show. Just give me 2 minutes and we'll get going. Everyone, we're just getting ready to start our show. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It was so silent, I wasn't sure.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is we have two hosts today. It might be kind of a new wave of the future. You know, things are changing pretty fast out in the world. And so they're changing here with the Cosmic Oracle Show. I know you've seen my co-host now is Steve Colbern, and he's a material scientist and an amazing friend. And he's done quite a bit of work with Dr. Lear. And why don't you just introduce yourself, Steve, and tell our listeners a little bit about you and that you're kind of going to be we're going to be co-hosts together for a while.
My name is Steve Colbern, and I'm a chemist and material scientist with about 30 years of industrial experience. And I'm also an alien experiencer and abductee. And the aliens put an implant in my toe in 2008, and Dr. Lear removed it, and we analyzed it, and I wrote a report on it, and I'm probably the only person in the world that can make that claim. So I analyzed several of Dr. Lear's implants that he removed from other patients, and became an expert on alien implants. So I outside government circles, removed from other patients, and an expert on alien implants. So outside government circles. Do we have an echo or what?
We just got it fixed. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's who I am. And I worked with Dr. Lear for about 6 years until 2014 when he passed away. So.
Yeah, you bring a lot to the table, a lot of wisdom and experience, and I know we kept having you come back over and over again. You're really quite popular, especially with your work with the alien implants. And
glad to hear that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that can use this information.
Yeah, they can. They really can. So welcome to the show. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Cosmic Oracle Show. I'm your host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. Yeah, I've been doing this for 9 years, and coming up to my 10th year. And very rarely have a co-host, so it's been really nice to have Steve come along on our spaceship, our mothership here, right? And see where we can go and get information for you, and not only up on this world, but in other different galaxies, and then bring it back to you. Maybe some what do you call that? Like interdimensional, extra dimensional, all the dimensions, I don't know, out there, and bring it back, but with practical application as well. So we want to back up what we say here on the show. We think that's important. And so thanks for giving generously to Revolution Radio. Go to freedomslips.com. That's freedomslips.com, or to revolution.radio, and give whatever you can, $5, $10, keep us on the air. We really appreciate it. Thank you in advance. And thank you for supporting my work. These are my books. I don't think you can see them with this, but it's Dying for the Light, published in 1989, talks about my ET UFO experience on a spaceship during an NDE, but I don't think you can see the cover too well. But anyway, it's on Amazon. It's Dying for...
Pull back a little bit. It was out of focus before.
There we go. How's that? Dying for the Light. And then I also have another book, Sekhmet. And this is Sekhmet. Here we go. Seized by Sekhmet, an Egyptian Goddess Revolution. So those are two of my books. And I also have a book on white light meditation. And I also have a school that I just love teaching, the Cosmic Oracle School. I have new classes starting on the 20th, level 1, where I teach you an 8-week deep dive into learning about yourself, why you're here, your psychic abilities, and how to use them to, in a way, protect yourself from some of the harshness that's out there in the world. So if you're interested, you can contact me at thecosmicoracle@gmail.com, or here on Facebook Messenger. Just messenger me at Facebook under Barbara Jean Lindsey or the Cosmic Oracle Show. and I'd love to talk to you about it. So I have 2 students signed up. I have 2 more openings, so we'd love to have you. And Steve, tell me a little bit about what you're doing with your nanotechnology and with your alien implants.
Well, I've been kind of dead in the water for lack of funding for a while, but in general, I have a company called Neutron Star Nanotechnology and a branch of it called Alien Evidence Inc. And I go to people's houses and do house scans and individual scans for recent alien contact and alien implants. And I'm a world-class chemist and material scientist, and know a lot about these things. And if anybody wants a scan, please call me at 805-625-2549.
I love it. I should write that number down. I should know it by heart. And it's 805
625
25
2549.
549. And I'll put that in the comments too.
Right.
So great. So we were talking about, do you want to start with UFO sightings? Do you want to talk me to start with that? And then I know you're working on something as well. So we'll go there. We'll go to the UFO sightings first, or do you want to dive right in? What would you like?
I haven't heard of too many UFO sightings lately. A friend of mine said that there were some sightings back east a few days ago. Some white lights in the sky. Nothing too remarkable.
Okay.
But they say in general that sightings are up, but up or about the same, but abductions are down, meaning that most likely that the aliens have enough hybrids for their purposes down here on Earth.
The work, huh? Well, I found a really good website that I like. It's called Art Angel, ARTANGEL.org.uk, and it has UFO sightings from all around the world, but they're not so up to date. But I did have one on they have whole bunches of them, like on October 1st, October 7th, October 13th, October 17th. The latest is October 28th, of witnessing of UFOs and UAPs, but I can never remember what UAPs are, unidentified aerial phenomena, right? But I still calling them UFOs. I don't know about you,
No,
Steve.
I'm not going to go with this UAP crap. I mean, they're UFOs as far as I'm concerned as well.
Yeah. And so what's cool about this website is if you go to it, it has Australia and France and Canada and Spain and United Kingdom and all the latest sightings. And so I thought I would just have, there's one from USA. It's just a quick one. I thought I would read it to you. It's at October 1st in USA. My name is Terry Biliezdesky. On Tuesday, July 28th, it's an old one though, and so it's 1998. At 8:30, I was running my sailboat in the Atlantic Ocean near Maryland Shoals, just off Key West, Florida. Suddenly, I and my crew spotted 10 orange circles in geometric positions. They stayed for 5 minutes, disappeared, and returned in 5 minutes. Later, 9 orange discs lit up the sky. Next, 3 orange rings in a triangle formation appeared and then disappeared. Words do not explain the whole situation, their size, and how the sky was lighted up. It was awesome. So that's, and I've been, I'll just share that with you. That was my main sharing with UFOs and sightings. But we've been talking on the show for a very long time about your stories, right? Your experience, your stories, your contactee stories, your stories of sightings. And so it's really starting to come more in the mainstream, that everybody's talking about it. We're not so woo out there anymore, but that with the use of our cameras and with some education from our shows, hopefully, and all of our shows on Revolution Radio and all of my friends' shows too, like Dave Scott has a wonderful show called Spaced Out Radio. I was just a interviewed by him on his station, and he does wonderful work. So there's a lot of us trying to get the word out about unidentified flying objects. And I know that once you have an experience, you're never quite the same. And I know, Steve, you want to talk about maybe one of your experiences, a UFO or a ET or a contactee or a
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
one of my best experiences was driving down Highway 40, traveling east. I think it was 1988 or 89, and I saw it was a night in the desert near Ludlow, California, and south of the freeway, I saw this huge, probably quarter-mile in diameter, yellow glowing disc-shaped object that was paralleling the freeway, traveling slowly, and it was so spectacular that cars were slowing down to look at it, and it discharged several smaller objects, 3 or 4 smaller objects while I was watching it. I watched it for a good 5 minutes, maybe closer to 10, and eventually it went behind a bluff and I lost sight of it. But that was very spectacular. That was probably the biggest disc-shaped object they make, or UFO they make. And I mean, that was really life-changing. I mean, you can't really come back from seeing something like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there.
Well,
Another experience I had was in 2008. I was out in my driveway at my old house in Fillmore, and it was about 8 o'clock at night. The sun was down, and a triangular object came by, traveling north to south, and it went directly over the house. It was approximately triangle is approximately I'd say it was approximately 600 feet on the side. It had a large red light in the center of it, like I've been told that's a reactor of some kind, and 7 white lights outlining the leading edge of the object, and it made a whooshing sound, not a normal jet noise, but kind of a whooshing sound. And when it came right over the house, they shined a spotlight on me that I'd estimate the object was at about 10,000 feet. They shined a spotlight on me when they were directly over the house that only spread to about 8 or 10 feet in diameter by the time it got down there. And I got a telepathic message saying, "We're watching you." And
whoa.
that was right after I discovered the object in my toe.
And what year was that again?
2008.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's interesting when you get a ship and then a mind speak or a telepathic download, right?
I don't think it was a download. I think it was just a voice to skull type message.
Yeah, I remember one time I was out in the morning walking my dog. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning in Marin County, and no one was out at all. It was really cold. I had on a long coat, and I'm walking, and as I'm walking, I'm just starting to look up, and I see a large cigar-shaped craft, a huge craft. I had never seen one before, and it was so quiet. It almost reminded me of one of those big old air balloons, the way that it just was so quiet in the sky. And it
Yeah.
was wrapped in a lot of fog. And I don't think I was supposed to see it. And have you found that too with seeing different UFOs that a lot of times they'll use fog as a cover?
Yeah, I know that from several reports that UFOs can generate cloud or fog and use them as cover. And generally, if you see a lenticular looking cloud, if people know what that is, it's a lens shaped cloud where it's not supposed to be. That very well could be a UFO using cloud cover.
Right. I know at Mount Shasta is known for that, for those lenticular clouds.
Yeah,
And
on mountains, that's where they usually form. But if you see one that's not by a mountain, then that's most likely a UFO.
uh, uh, I wonder what other I know for me, I've had several different contacts or sightings. And in one in particular, where I also had missing time, I've talked about it on the show before. But the next day I had like a sunburn, just on my face, nowhere else, just on my face. And I know that's a part of a contact phenomena as well, right? It's from
Yeah, why not? There's a plasma envelope around most of these craft that gives off. It's very hot and it gives off a lot of ultraviolet and X-rays. So that could have been the source of your sunburn.
Yeah, and even sometimes in that you can get that even if it's nighttime. If you've been up on a ship. I know with me sometimes I feel like it. Like when the next morning I feel like my face is red for no reason.
Well, that's nothing to do with the sun. And also, their surgical instruments often use UV to activate things like implants, and that's, in my opinion, the reason that people often have red marks on their body after an encounter, because it's a small sunburn from some of the devices they use.
Uh, uh, wow. Yeah, it's a. Last time we were on, I know we're going somewhere where we weren't going to go, but we're just going to go here for a while till you're ready to dive into. I know you want to talk about something that's really important to you that we should know about that's going on in our government as well, and that will be a part of this. But I would like for you, when you go on the ship at night, I see when I come back, I know I've been there, and I feel it and I sense it and I know it, but I have a whole total block memory of it. Why do you think they do that? Why do you think they block us? Why don't they just let us have the truth or know the truth of what's going on up there?
It's partly because of enough people talked about this and were sure about their experiences. Then people down here would believe it, and they don't want that. And it's also to protect the abductees, because a lot of people can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
This experience is so unlike what we've been taught in school and by our parents
Mm-hmm.
that it's very disorienting to some to come to the realization that things are a lot different than what they've been taught.
Right. It's almost like if you're like me, I'm 71, like everything I knew from the first contact, I had to like let go of it, all that conditioning, all of that history, all of that information of who I thought I was. It changes your perspective and opens you up, I think, to so much more than what we're told we are.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, okay. Look, I want to do this. I had it written down, so I want to find it. Give me 1 second. Okay. We're going somewhere different than what we proposed. Maybe we'll get to your part of what you want to do, and we'll talk about it right before the break. Okay. So
Okay.
I found this list that I had made, and I wanted to see what you thought about this, actually. Okay. So what's the difference, you think? How were you different before your contact compared to after your contact?
There was no before the contact. This has been going on since day one. I'm a class 2 experiencer where they abducted my mother when she was pregnant with me and modified me genetically.
Mm-hmm.
Most, if not all, class 2 experiencers, in my opinion, are that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because my mom also doesn't know how she got pregnant with me. And so I think I'm a part of that. But I didn't really have I had a realization with contact when I was 12. And then I didn't have it again until I was 37. But when I had that contact at 37, after the contact, everything changed so much. There was so much that changed in me. I don't know how much of me was left. It's like I didn't know who I was, where I was going, what I was doing. I knew I was the mother of 3 children, but I was like a new baby, not like a walk-in, because a walk-in are beings that'll come take a body right when they're dying, and they'll take over their body, and they don't have memory of the of the actual, like the birthdays or the human part of the memories at all. And so they'll so a walk-in will just take over the body and not have any memory. So it wasn't a walk-in, but it was a contact where I think I was right on that edge of sanity, in a way, of losing it, right? Because there was so much information that was given that changed my life. Number one, my perspective of the world, that I had a small, narrow view of the world, and now I had a cosmic view, and I wanted the earth to be healed and taken care of and respected and honored, so we could join a galactic community. And I had never heard of a galactic star council or a galactic UFOs and ETs weren't in my.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an alien council, in my opinion. I don't have any evidence for it yet, but there's been a lot of anecdotal reports of an alien council, and there's a lot of aspects to this awakening when you're an abductee and you find out for sure. There's a lot of aspects to this awakening. I have never been like other people. I mean, and they made sure of that from day one. But even still, finding out for sure that this is true, as happens when you find an alien implant in your toe, that is life changing. Like I tell people, there's a big difference between strongly suspecting something like this is happening to you and knowing for sure.
Right.
When you find the alien technology in your body, it's you pretty much know for sure at that point.
Right, and you can't go back. There's no going back.
No, as somebody else once said, it opens a door that can never be closed again.
Right. And so, do you think there's changes in the brain chemistry itself from the contact? That the changing the wiring of the brain somehow?
Not really. I think that any changes in the brain chemistry are due to genetic modification, and I think that any changes are also due to just being excited or upset over the contact itself. But I don't think that there are huge changes due to the contact. The only thing I've noticed is that psychic abilities are revved up after these contacts. I'm not sure if that's brain changes or what, but I have noticed that aspect of it.
Yeah, I would say that for me, for sure. For sure. From I think I had a good intuitive sense, but not a totally open sense of being. And so for usually for most people that have their first contact, they want to try and figure it out. And that's kind of where I went. I wanted to figure out what's happening, how it's all happening. And I wanted all the truth, and I wanted it all by 5 o'clock. And I think that's too much sometimes for my brain to handle. So I wasn't given it all at once. Maybe you had a bigger brain, you could get it handled all at once.
Nobody could get it all by 5 o'clock. I mean, you can, eventually come to the place where you know pretty much what's going on with you, and that's where I am right now. But I don't know everything, and you're not going to get it quickly. It's going to take a couple of years probably for most people.
Yeah, to acclimate it, right?
Right.
Yeah. And some of the changes that you go through, some of the things I wrote them down, like for me, I went over it again and again in my mind, what happened. And I've heard other people say that. It's like when you have that experience, like the first experience you talk about a contact in, let's say 1989, but it's 2023, but that contact, you can remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that's true with any very exciting memory, I guess.
A life-changing memory for sure.
Yeah.
And then comes the question, why me? Given
That's fairly easily answered. It's because you have uh, genes they're interested in. They're interested in Celtic people, Germanic people, and Native American people mostly.
Mhm,
And you probably also have royalty and military people in your family, and that's what they want. That's what they're interested in,
mhm,
and
mhm.
they want psychics above all. If you
Yeah.
have psychic ability, they want that. They want people with high intelligence, physical strength, and psychic ability.
Mhm,
And they want people that are kind of aggressive that might be able to fight a war for them, I think, as well.
mhm, mhm. Well, you want to figure it out. That's for sure. You want the answers. You're not going to be happy until you get the answers. At least that I've
Yeah,
been on.
my ex after this whole thing came to light, asked me to just let it go and never mention it again and be in denial about it. And I said, I can't do that. I've got to find out what's going on here.
Right, right. Yeah, it would be nice to just sweep it under the rug like it doesn't exist, but
Yeah, it'd be nice, I guess. But
yeah, well, but there's also that you find out it has been an adventure finding out that you're a contactee and that I know after getting having the experiences and going to all the sacred places all over the world, talking to different shamans and teachers and healers, and then to have you with your alien implant scanner scan my body and find all sorts of implants in there. um I just wanted to know why, why, what are they up to? And I think you answered that earlier, that it was just obsessive. I think I've become very obsessive about ETs and UFOs and our history as well, our real history. And that's a part of being contactee, right?
yeah,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
believe it is.
Okay. And I think one of the important things is to tell your story, because if we tell our stories of each of our contacts, then we can start to connect dots and connect experiences and exchange information that way as well. So we're not so alone in our experience.
Yeah, it's very important for all the abductees out there to make contact with other abductees through UFO conferences or support groups or something. And I guarantee that if you do, you'll find that you'll think you've arrived. I mean, um, most people that are into this or have been into this for a long time feel like they're outsiders in humanity, and uh, making contact with other experiencers is also a life-changing experience.
It does. It makes it more real, because I think that's part of like the wanting. There's that part where you're trying to make it real to yourself, and in your uncomfortableness you start to tell your story, and the person that you're telling it to, if they're outside a UFO group per se, can hit up against a lot of judgment,
Yeah,
or a lot of anger too, where people feel threatened.
sometimes. Yeah, I don't recommend anybody talk to non-experiencers about this because they will either react with disbelief, with anger or the equivalent, or they'll react with superstitious fear, which is the worst one.
Yeah, superstitious fear. Yeah.
If they believe you, they'll react with superstitious fear, and believe me, you don't want that.
Right, right. I think after a year, I've done this for like 37 years now, or 30 years. I don't know how many years, but you start to develop a thicker skin. But I
Yeah,
think part of the work is working with what just happened, that really happened, writing down. I suggest, if you do have an experience, if you can catch it on your phone, if you can't, write the experience down as soon as possible, because you could forget some things later, but if you
Oh
write
yeah,
it,
they manipulate your memory all the time, and they can do it after the fact too. So, yeah, if you want to preserve these experiences, definitely write it down.
write them down, and then you can tell your story to someone like at Contact in the Desert, where we have the Cosmic Cafe. You can come and tell your contactee story there. Or you can write about it. I think that's why I wrote a book about it. It wasn't so much to publish it to the world as it was just kind of leaving the story for my grandchildren, so that they knew when they come up against that, because they will have it an experience or two eventually. Then they have a reference if I'm not around. So it's kind of like for the next 7 generations, right? That you can help them by telling your story as well. So, and it does work. We've talked about this before. I know some of this is old news to a lot of us, but some of the new people, this is their first time hearing this, and so we have on the Cosmic Oracle Show, it can go from beginners to very seasoned contactees, and so I want to welcome you for coming today and listening about contact. I think we're gonna. Did you say sightings were up, but actual abductions were down? Is
Yeah,
that?
sightings are up or about the same from what I understand, but abductions are down.
Mm-hmm. So does that tell you maybe that there's going to be more of a maybe the next step in our communication with an actual alien?
Yeah, it does. It tells me that they have all the hybrids they need, and they're moving towards some sort of an end game scenario where they will reveal themselves.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. And that somehow us as contactees were part of all of this change. Whether we
Yeah, they have a job for us to do. They won't tell me what it is, but they have a job for us to do when society collapses and or when they reveal themselves.
Mhm, mhm. And that maybe the ambassador part of it, right, starts to come together.
Yeah,
Well,
perhaps.
and some of that part of it too is that it took me a long time. I'm pretty sensitive, so and an empath. But to have contact like that and then make it real to myself so that I understood it and knew it. And then the next big change for me in it was that I figured out that I was alien. Now that was a big shocker for me. I wasn't expecting that. I
You figured that out on your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it was after reading about all the different kinds of beings like Pleiadians or Arcturians or where they come from, Venus or Mars, um, or whether I'm Anunnaki or Venusian or the mantid race or a reptilian, or because you start exploring this and you start getting all kinds of information, and so you start to grow and have a little bit more of a larger vocabulary about it, some sensibility about it, and then I just remember that, oh my gosh, I think I definitely have an off-planet perspective of this planet. So would that
Yeah,
make
me too. And I think that a lot of people that are involved in this are not fully human or have been modified by the aliens genetically, and it certainly feels like that. And I think a lot of proof here in the next few years, because genetic sequencing has become whole genome genetic sequencing has become affordable,
uh-huh.
and most of us just aren't the same as normal people. I mean, it's hard to describe, but our emotions are a bit different, and we are empathic and we're psychic and stronger and more intelligent. And there's a number of differences, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. What do you think in the materialistic realm? Is there a change there or a shift there in consciousness and materialism? Is it?
I don't think I understand the question.
I guess I have a lot of friends that became friends after they were contactees. You know, they came to me, they told me their story and we would talk. And they found that one of the shifts after you have contact, is that so many had put so much into their job, their whole life, everything into the job that their nose was to the grind. They did exactly what they were told. And after contact, they opened up and the job wasn't that important anymore, that their family was important, that the earth was important, that,
Well, I think that's a more balanced and healthy perspective, actually.
yeah, I think so too. But it's an evolution or a revolution, right?
Yeah, it's both
Yeah,
an evolution and a revolution.
yeah, I think so too. I think so too. So where like-minded people start gathering together and some change is going to happen for sure. So I guess that's all I wanted to talk about is before contact, after contact, and then kind of that catharsis that a lot of people go through. And then later you figure out, well, I've been a contactee my whole life, probably since my first breath, right? And
Right.
so you have those aha moments that or you could put in your baby book. So there you go. So that's kind of my rant. I don't know why, but I wanted to talk about it today. I thought it was really important. Um, so if you have been a contactee, there are safe places that you can go to. And do you know? Can you recommend a group that people can go to, Steve, that you know of for contactee if they want to go listen to stories or tell their own story?
Well, there's Yvonne Smith's Sarah group. I'm not sure if it's still intact or not, but I haven't gone in a while. But that's the only one I know of around here in Southern California. But
Okay,
there are definitely support groups throughout the country. You just have to look for them.
okay. And then I know Eric Mitchell has one. I think he still has his. You can find Eric on Facebook. Um, and then I forget there's someone else too that uh oh shoot, that has a group too, but I can't remember his name. Maybe I'll think about it on the break or something. Um, so we have that. Oh yeah, so I found Yvonne's information, so we could just put that up here for her. Yvonne Smith. And then also let's then briefly talk about um hypnotherapy. Have you had much hypnotherapy?
I've had about 15 sessions, I guess.
Wow, I didn't know you had that many.
Yeah.
Who did you have them with?
Yvonne Smith, Barbara Lamb, and one with one other person.
Uh, I never had one with Yvonne Smith, but I had one with Barbara Lamb and Mary Rodwell.
Yeah, Mary Rodwell seems. I've never done a session with her, but she seems very with it and professional and knowledgeable.
Oh, she was amazing. She was just amazing. And I had a block, and so she was able to help
A lot
me.
of people do.
Yeah, I guess because it's so out of your ordinary that you have to.
Well, they no,
Uh,
they put a block in there so that you can't remember a lot of
oh,
times.
mhm,
They allow me to remember some things. I think that's by design, but if they
mhm,
really don't want you to remember, it's tough to overcome.
mhm. And that's by design, you're saying.
Yes, I believe so.
Wow. Yeah, I think so too. I think with me, but I always, when I say that, that's by design would be more to their benefit because I know I could handle the truth. I know most of us
Well,
can.
it's mostly security on their end. They don't want this information out there to the public any more than the government does.
Mhm.
it's classified on their end too.
Right, right. You know, I'm thinking we got to have Mary back on the show. It's been a while to have
Yeah,
her.
that sounds like a good idea.
I'd love to have her back on the show and talk about her work. It's been a long time. And I understand too that you have a book that you're working on. You want to
Yeah,
tell
that's
about
true. It's called Earthbound, a manual for class 2 experiencers, and I'm gonna talk about how to deal with this as best you can, and also just general information about aliens and the alien program and why they're doing this.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, it sounds like important work that you're doing, Steve.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I think that some people will definitely enjoy it.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I guess we were good with what I wanted to do with that for some reason, the rant. I had this whole idea of how I think the show's going to go. And then I go with this intuitive part of myself who maybe it's the show really is for the aliens to watch, and for off planet people might really enjoy the Cosmic Oracle show. And sometimes I think there's someone
Um,
helping guide the show itself,
Believe me, both the aliens and the government are listening to this.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
listen to conferences as well.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
personnel there.
And so we want to talk about the second half. It's you and I were talking about it before the show, and it's something that you're starting to look up and find some information about that you think is important. And I really agree that it's worthy of a subject to take a look at as well. And can you maybe start a little bit about that, and then we're just about to go to break.
Okay. Yeah, I ran across a House of Representatives bill the other day, HR 3980, I believe it is, the Facial Recognition Improvement Act, and I hear tell I've only got one source so far, but I hear tell that bill will bring about or wants to bring about a social scoring system like they have in China in this country. And in China, unless your social score is high enough, you can't ride on a plane or a bus or get hot water or certain foods at the store, and they punish you in various ways for not doing good deeds and believing as they want you to believe. And this bill reportedly tries to bring that about here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I need to do more research on it before saying that's really what they want to do. But I think that people ought to keep their eyes open and do a lot of research on this and fight it tooth and nail if indeed that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, this is a study on facial recognition technology.
Well,
And for
facial recognition technology is very dangerous to begin with. I mean, it's an attempt by government to track wherever you are at all times.
Mhm. And is that an act of freedom?
Of course not. It's an act of dictatorship and control.
Mm-hmm. And it's because according to the bill, they set broad limits, right? It's not it's too ambiguous, maybe. I'm not quite
Well,
sure.
I haven't read the whole bill yet, but they put a lot of crap in bills that they don't want the public to see a lot of times, and I think that might be the case with this. But that there's the intent, the stated intent of the bill to improve facial recognition, and then in the fine print there might be this other stuff. I need to read the whole thing, and I encourage people that are listening to this to research on their own and find out. And maybe on the next show or later in this show, I can tell you more.
Yeah. I'm really interested in it too. I bet Revolution Radio already has something on it, and I just haven't picked it up yet. But it's So it's Bill HR 3980. It was introduced in the House. It's advancing facial recognition.
Yeah, Mr. Carter from Georgia introduced it.
Right, Buddy Carter. Yeah,
Democrat.
yeah. And it's to require the Secretary of Commerce and the Federal Trade Commission to conduct a study on facial recognition technology and for other purposes. And really what the fear is, if they can allay this fear, but is that if it's a foot in the door, right, and then everything opens up. That's the problem with it, right? That's kind of what we're kind of
I'm not sure if it's a foot in the door or if they actually spell out they want, control as it exists in China right now. But there's been some controversy over this bill, put it that way, and I'm going to research the heck out of it in the next few days.
Yeah, and if any of our listeners have anything they want to add or a comment, we'd really appreciate that as well, because this is definitely your show as well. So it's just something that we were talking about. I think it's important. And I've just started to look at that myself. And so a lot of changes. And a part of the work to get this are to be in order for our Mother Earth, our Earth, to be able to join the Galactic Federation of Planets, is that oh, I just lost it. Wow, was that we would have to, it wasn't that funny. I never do that. Someone's in my head. That's why I gotta move somebody out. Just a minute. That was wild, right?
Hmm.
That's gotta go. That's gotta go. All right. Dang. So we want to join the Galactic Federation. In order to do that, we have to be responsible for ourselves and take action and be responsible for our Earth. And that means being responsible to really take a look at this bill and what our politicians are doing, right?
Well, I think people in general ought to be a heck of a lot more responsible with politics than they are. They ought to be paying a lot more attention because, when people just tune out and watch sports on TV and, don't do anything else besides unproductive activities in their spare time and don't keep track on what the government's up to and current events, they see that, the U.S. government sees that and says, we can do anything we want. And it's not democracy anymore at that point. People have no power. People need to take their power back.
Right.
The power is supposed to be with the people in this country. It's not with the people anymore. It's with the bureaucrats in the deep state in Washington, and we have to take the power back from them if we're going to save this country. They're trying to turn this into some sort of a dictatorship. The signs are all there, and people need to wake up and unite and stop them from doing that.
And one of the ways you can do that is by number one is being responsible and
by doing part of your civic duty by keeping up with current events and what government is doing, whatever your political beliefs are, in order to make this work, in order to have a representative system of government work well and really represent the people. People need to be paying attention. That only makes sense.
And then take some sort of action with that, either
sure.
By
at least be make an informed vote, if nothing else, and maybe be active in political groups or contribute to your favorite political candidate or party, or give them suggestions, or write your congressman. There's all kinds of stuff you can do to stay involved and active, and people by and large aren't doing it.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll start moving in that direction, because not that we don't have a lot of time, but in order to make some changes, we don't.
No, they've pulled out all the stops to make sure that people don't have that much free time.
Mhm,
But we ought to make time anyway.
mhm, mhm.
If we want to remain free people, we need to make time anyway.
Right. And so that's what I suggest with people is that they just take one thing that they think needs to be changed and move towards that. I think by starting a show, it's
Yeah,
free to do the shows. Everyone can have a podcast and talk about whatever they want to talk about now. And but you can't just talk. You got to take some action too, right? It's not
yeah.
just
They don't want intelligent people, especially the middle class, to have too much time or too much money on their hands.
Mhm,
And they've taken steps to remove both of those things from us.
mhm.
But we need to pay attention anyway and participate anyway, regardless. The In my opinion, the government's responsible for the economy being in the sorry state it's in right now, but partly because they want poor people. They don't want people that are rich or are able to buy things or do whatever they want. I mean, rich people or well off people are a threat to them.
Right.
So to say.
Well, and plus we're learning how to change our space, how to change our vibration, how to work our let's say expanded consciousness. We're all expanding our consciousness and how to work that into our bodies, right? And then take it to our friends and family and go from there. So I think we're much more powerful together, right?
Well,
Everyone
yeah,
to
I mean, unless people band together, there's no hope. I mean, they're too big for us individually. You know, they just are. I mean, that's the way things are. But collectively, if millions of people band together to and pull on the same rope and pull in the same direction, then that's a different story.
right, right. I think we were talking about this off before the show too, about how about there was a war and someone said I declare war and no one showed up. It could be that simple, right?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we need to tell people that in the government that we're not always going to do what you say.
Mhm,
People are just mindless automatons these days. The government says jump, and they say how high. I mean, that needs to stop if we're going to remain a free people.
mhm, mhm.
I know it wasn't that way in the '60s.
Right,
People have to stop helping the government or you know uh, ratting each other out and everything and hating each other. We need to turn on our common enemy, which
right,
increasingly, I'm sorry to say, is the U.S. government.
right. And learn to trust ourselves and our neighbors and know our neighbors. That's even a basic step,
Yeah,
right?
well, I think a big portion of this is people hate their neighbors,
Hmm.
and the government's I think gone a long way towards fomenting that kind of an attitude too.
Yeah.
Everybody's a criminal. Everybody's a criminal. Rat them out. Tell on them. Call them. Drop a dime. God knows what your neighbors are up to. Well, shit, God knows what the people in Washington are up to.
Well,
They have a lot more money and a lot more time in their hands.
right. So maybe dispel fear and say hello to your neighbor, and that's a good start. Well, we're going right on break right now on Revolution Radio from 5:57 to 6:04. For those listening on Facebook, we'll be back at 6:04. So here's a beautiful some information from Revolution Radio. Thanks, Steve Colbern, for being a great co-host. Thanks to everyone checking in today. And wanted to say a little shout out to Leslie Young. Good seeing you, Leslie. And we'll be right back after this break from
Yeah,
Revolution Radio.
and people should remember Paradise, California, and Lahaina, Maui. That's an
Right.
example of what out of control government does.
Oh, yeah. You want to talk about that when we get back?
Sure, a little bit more.
A little bit. All right.
All right. Talk to you. Talk to you later.
Hello and welcome back. We have a little bit of a, let me see if I can fix that. Ooh. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I think we're all systems go now. Let me make sure. Ha. All right, let me kick back there. There we go. Well, welcome back to the Cosmic Oracle Show. This is your co-host, Barbara Jean Lindsey. Steve Colbern will be joining with us shortly, I'm sure. And thanks for tuning in to the Cosmic Oracle Show. It's our 9th year. And we've been telling stories and talking UFO, ET, experiencers, contactees, abductees for many, 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 many years now, our 9th year. We've had some really interesting guests on the show over the years. I have some new ones lined up for you. I think you'll be really excited about. coming up shortly as well in the next couple months. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. We're an all volunteer station, and that means that no one gets paid. I've never gotten paid for doing this show, and I'm kind of proud of that in a way, you know. I will ask for if you want to promote my work by buying my books, you know, or taking a class, or I also do professional readings, psychic readings. But really, I'm here to serve you and to help put the truth out, the word out, some information out, and whatever we say here on the Cosmic Oracle Show, you can discern, right? You can take what works for you and keep it, and throw away what doesn't work for you and say, no, I don't think that feels right, right? Because we're all very psychic and very intuitively in tuned ourselves. And so whatever we talk about here on the show, if it doesn't resonate with you, then so be it, and move on, right? And so this evening I thought I'm glad we talked a little bit about that, Bill, because I haven't gotten like revved up or zoomed up or powered up in a while myself over the politics that are going on. I think I still play a little bit. Hey, I have a hard time just being here sometimes, even with all my skills that I've developed over the years. Sometimes I just can be very harsh here, but it's where we set our perspective, right? So if there's a good ship and an evil ship, I'm going to go with the good ship, okay? And that's where I'm going to put my thoughts and my energy. But I'm also going to be aware of the evil. So I'm going to be aware of it. I'm going to say hello to it. I'm going to try to communicate with it. But I'm going to stand solid on my own ground of who I am, and be clear and centered in the communication as well. So I was thinking about this, you know, there's all sorts of different ways that you can have a contact with someone who's maybe not human. And usually we think of, like shown on our movies, that it's a spaceship, and we want to see a metal spaceship, right? With come in and looks like a disc, and you know, the usual looking ones that we all know that. I think, who was it that back in Washington, D.C. was the first person to call it a spaceship, a flying saucer. That's what he called it. Oh, I forget what was the name. Maybe Steve remembers. On the Mount Hood. That's right, Mount Hood. Hey, Steve, welcome back, Steve Colbern.
Yeah, thanks.
And so, do you remember the name of the guy who is the one who gave the first time that called it a flying saucer on Mount Hood?
Well, I know who he is, but I can't recall it at the moment.
I can't remember his name either. Maybe some of our listeners can. I used to know. And as soon as we hear, we're going to go, oh, yeah, that's right. But that we're kind of been conditioned through movies and all of that, that the spaceship already has a certain look, it's a certain way, and also like with Rendlesham Forest in England back in the day, where one of the contactees was able to actually touch the ship and saw symbols. He thought that they looked kind of like Egyptian looking symbols on the ship itself. But anyway, so I have a big loop out, but I'm going to bring it home here, okay? And that is, there's also other contacts that I think that are even more subtle, but they're very important, and we don't talk about them a lot, and that's the interdimensional contact.
It was Kenneth Arnold.
Pardon?
It was Kenneth Arnold that coined the term flying saucer. He saw several by Mount Hood, like you said. Yes. When he was flying in a private plane back in 1954, I believe, or 47.
What year was it?
1947, the same year that Roswell happened.
Okay. I thank you for that. Because, you know, that was an important day. It changed everything. Sometimes, you know, he was probably never the same after that either, after they put that in.
I doubt that he was, yeah.
Yeah. So Kenneth Art, I'm gonna put that in here, Kenneth,
June 24th, 1947, and it's
uh,
Mount Rainier.
oh, it's Mount Rainier, okay.
That's what they say here.
I don't want Mount, oh, shoot, let me put it, ah, I just messed it up. Okay, it's Mount, oops, R-A-I-N, Mount Rainier. June what, 1947?
Just a minute.
Sorry,
June 24th, 1947.
1947.
Yeah.
And he was seeing the ships and he called them that they look like flying
Yeah,
saucers.
he coined the term flying saucers. Yeah, Kenneth Arnold, he was a private pilot. And let's see.
Thank you. Flying saucer. Well, I think, and we'll go back, but I think also you're the one who has coined the term class 2 experiencer, my
Yeah, I
friend.
coined that. So, June 24th, 1947, Kenneth Arnold saw the craft, and July 8th, 1947 was the Roswell incident.
Oh, July 8th was
So
Roswell.
he was pre-Roswell by a few weeks.
Huh. Interesting. Beautiful country to see a ship, that's for sure. So my whole point of this was that in our movies and in books and all over, is that we see a ship. It's a metal ship. It looks like a flying saucer. But my point here is I'm trying to take, and I think there's a lot of ways that you can be contacted, and that can be interdimensional. You don't ever have to be on a ship either. They can just come in,
They can do
right?
it telepathically if they want. Yeah,
Yeah, telepathically.
yeah.
And
You do not physically have to be taken every time. Most abductions, I think, are physical, but some are telepathic in nature.
yeah, and that those um require a credibility factor as well. And then also in a dream state, that you can have a dream of contact, and then also you can have contact during a vision.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, and when I said telepathic in nature, they beam whatever they want into your head from a distance.
Right, right, and that's a form of contact. That's, I
Well,
think
sure it is. Yeah.
they use it a lot, but we don't talk about it so much. I guess because we always want the nuts and bolts, or it's not real.
Well, there's a good reason for that. I mean, there's no evidence of it, for one thing. That doesn't leave any evidence behind. Physical contact always leaves some evidence behind,
Mhm.
and I've seen a lot of that. These people that say there's no evidence that there's ever been alien contact don't know what they're talking about. They're
Mhm.
armchair critics, basically.
Right.
I've been in the trenches in this for 15 years, and I can tell you that there is evidence.
Mhm. Mhm. And some of that we talked about briefly in other shows, but I remember when you told me that there was the blue dye that they leave as a residue. I had never heard of that before.
Well, a lot of people haven't, but I was not the first one to discover the dye. I think Daryl Sims was the first one,
Uh,
and another researcher talked about it too. Um, uh, not able to remember her name either at the moment, but
okay. And you met Daryl Sims, right? And you had
yeah, I met him a couple times. Yeah,
mhm. And
he was Dr. Lear's partner before me.
oh, he was. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
So,
Uh-uh.
I know they had a falling out, but they were partners for several years too.
Wow, I never knew that. Ha, ha. Well, that makes sense. Well, I remember you like in the photographs that you've shown before is that they have a blue dye, they leave a blue dye. And what's the consistency of the blue dye?
Um, I'm not really sure. I know for sure that the yellow green dye, there's a yellow green, a blue, and an orange dye that are the three most common ones. And
Mhm.
there's two or three others that are less common. But um, the yellow green dye is for sure from their skin because I've seen four-fingered handprints left in it before. Um, and the blue dye is quite common, and I think that's some kind of a medical dye, but I'm not really sure. And the orange dye is less common, and uh, it requires a shorter wavelength UV to light it up most effectively. Um, most of these alien dyes are most effectively lit up and fluoresce at medium UFO UV wavelengths, like UVB wavelengths, around 254 nanometers, I believe.
Mhm. And I was surprised at how long it lasts. How long do the fluorescence glow in the dark colors
Yeah,
last?
the dyes are nearly indelible. They don't wash off, and they last at least a month, sometimes as much as 6 or 8 weeks on the skin.
Wow. I know we have photos of some that you took at my home
Yeah,
on my wall, and then also on my body itself. And
I've,
that
I've seen so many of them. I'm getting to the place where I can estimate about how old these dyes are or stains are.
do they die? Do they lose color after a while? Do they fade?
I don't think they fade, but the part of it washes off after a while. It's a very slow process.
Mhm.
They're very strongly bonded to skin and organic material in general.
And clothes?
Yeah, if it gets on clothes, it bonds there pretty much forever.
Wow, wow. Uh, and I was thinking about this. This is a question I always wanted to ask you. Do they ever do implants in the mouth? Is that a
Yes,
common,
yes, they do.
like,
It's
like,
not it's not that common, but yes, they do.
Mhm.
Dr. Lear saw at least two cases of that.
And can you talk about those cases or one of the cases? Do you remember it?
One of the cases was a naval intelligence officer that had an implant under one of his molars, I believe, and um,
Was it
another
called?
one was one of Dr. Lear's early patients that had an implant in his gums near one of his teeth.
Yeah, did it cause him any pain? Is that why he had him look at it, or why did he have Dr. Lear and not a dentist look at it?
I think the people were called something being put into their mouth on an experience.
Mhm.
Um,
When,
I'll have to research that, look it up again, but I believe that's what happened.
when he removed it, was it like really minuscule little thing? Did it have a wave on it that they could hear him or
One was and one wasn't. I think the one that was taken out of the naval intelligence officer may have been a government implant. The other one was probably alien.
uh,
The alien implants are much smaller than government implants.
mhm. And I remember you saying before some of them can give off a radio wave.
That's correct. I think they all give off radio waves, but not continuously. Maybe 5 or 10% of the time,
Mm.
especially if there's something going on that their alien masters might be interested in, like going on a Japanese TV show, for example. In my case,
Hmm.
I have two implants, one of them each ear, and they both started giving off radio signals when went on this Japanese TV show.
And the Japanese um, directors or were able to scan that and prove it, right?
Yes, they were, and they certainly got their money's worth out of
Uh,
the particular show.
well, did it shock you too? That was
Yes,
it,
it did because those implants. I suspected I had implants there, but they were not giving off radio signals before.
uh, but when you
Yeah,
left the country, they did.
yeah.
That's interesting. Did it kind of creep you out too? I would think.
I'm mostly beyond the point of being creeped out by this, but a little bit, I guess.
Okay. All right. So if you have any questions you want to ask Steve, or I, mainly Steve, about this, but just put them in the comments on Facebook and we'll ask your question on the air. Okay, so I have a list of questions in, and unless you want to go into more about the bill, or we'll go into that next week.
Next week would be more appropriate, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so my question is, I had someone ask me this question. Are aliens more like us than not?
They're not like us at all.
Okay, because they were saying that we're more alike than different. So
It depends on the type of aliens you're talking about. The aliens that mostly do the abductions are not much like us at all. They're hive mind, and they're about 1 million years ahead of us in technology, and they've
wait. Back up. 1 million years.
about that. Yeah,
Well, we don't have a chance.
there's not much beyond their capabilities.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know that to be true?
I don't, but I've experienced firsthand some of their technology. They like to show off sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Can you give us an
that's
example?
what I have concluded. Yeah, I can. I was going to Dr. Leary's office in my old Cadillac in a canyon road, Balcom Canyon Road in Ventura County, California, and I got to the deepest part of the canyon, and my car all of a sudden broke down, and I had to walk about 2 miles down the canyon to get cell phone reception to call a tow truck, and I got it to a mechanic, and the mechanic said that the computer in the car had been completely fried by some unknown force, perhaps microwaves.
Mm.
So I think they zapped me,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Dr. Lear and the film crew that I was going to see had to come pick me up.
Wow. And that's not unusual, right, for that sort of thing to happen.
No, I don't think it's unusual at all for people in my position.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna switch over and see how you. I think it'll be fun because you and I had an experience together, and I thought you want to talk about that, the one that we had when we were scouting for a perfect place to have a skywatch. Do you want to talk about that? We don't have to either. It's up to you.
Well, yeah, we went up to this place in the Santa Monica Mountains. I don't remember what it was called offhand, but apparently we went up there in my motorhome, and apparently there was some secret government installation near the top of these mountains, and these big trucks were coming down the mountain on this very narrow 2-lane road. And I think I missed these trucks and the edges of the walls of the canyon by inches at times. And we got up there, and it was like some kind of fairyland up there. And we scouted around for a while and relaxed for a while. And there was this Asian American man that was walking around the facility that reminded me of some sort of a government agent, that asked what we were doing there, and said he was surprised we had made it up there in a motorhome. And we just got some really bad, creepy vibes up there that they were being watched and stuff. And going down the mountain, the brakes superheated, and we were kind of lucky to make it back in one piece, I'd say.
Yeah. And then comes the other part. Then we were going back, and I forget the name of the place. You remember it? Is it at Hunene Point? Is it
Wainimi.
Wainimi? Wainimi?
We do rock.
Right.
On Pacific Coast Highway, there's a place called Magoo Rock.
Yeah.
When you turn and go into the Ventura County area, and this time the sun was had just gone down. We just gone past that point, and about I'd say 3 or 4 miles past Magoo Rock, everything changed, and it,
Oh, we can't hear you. You're breaking up.
it turned out that
Oh, Steve, you're breaking
it
up.
seemed like we were in a different reality about 3 or 4 miles past. Well, I can't help that.
Okay. There you
Okay.
go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. So we at Magoo Rock.
That's government interference, by the way.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were about 3 or 4 miles past Magoo Rock, and it seemed like everything changed. And it seemed like we were suddenly about 5 miles from where we were supposed to be. And it's a very strange experience.
It's a really strange experience.
I've been picked up by UFOs before too. Coming back from the UFO Congress is the best example, and I think that happened to us at that point too.
Yeah, we were just, I remember being in the motorhome, minding our own business, going up to the Magoo Rock, going through it. And then the next thing I remember being on this long, dark, very, very dark, long stretch of a road. And I don't remember the name of the road.
We ended up being moved from there about 2 or 3 miles north of Magoo Rock to this area that's just south of Camarillo, California, about I don't know the exact distance, 5 or 10 miles away.
Yeah. And it was just, and we were both sitting there, and it's like we looked at each other, and I know the feeling, you know the feeling now, when you have been abducted and you're brought back, there's that a little bit of a time lapse, or a time, where it's high quiet or high a density. Does that make sense? I don't know if you get that feeling when you're.
Perfect sense. A lot of the alien technology revolves around varying the density of the space-time continuum, and I think the effects you're talking about are very dependent on that.
Yeah, and you know what? Speaking, I had a friend tell me that some of those that have had experience or abductee, they do have trouble with their eyes, and it's a part of that problem of being taken out so far out and then brought back in maybe a quicker way, or a density or something, that they happen to have trouble with their eyes, mainly different types of problems with eyesight, or retina problems, that sort of thing.
No, I have no retina problems, but my eyes water a lot.
Yeah. I see little rainbows sometimes, but that usually tells me I need to not read so much and get unplugged from the computer and take a break. So
yeah, unplug.
That's right.
Unplug, damn it.
So let's see, my other question, and if you have a question for me, anything you think about, let me know too, or I could look at something or something too, because you're co-host too. Okay.
All right. Look at the UFO that abducted us on that trip.
All right. Ooh.
Go get them.
Go get them, right. Yeah, I've never looked at it. It was a very big ship, like a mothership.
Yeah.
I know this sounds weird, but I'm just going to tell you what I see. Very thin ship. which is interesting. So when
Yeah.
you're into it, it's very thin, almost like a sliced pizza, like a pizza. That's probably because it's getting thinner and I'm hungry. But it's like this very thin wave. So it's kind of it waves. So it's like, like when you're out on the beach and the sun hits and it has that wave, that heat wave. It's like a heat wave. And we're being pulled into that heat wave going in. And we go in together at the same time.
Did they pick up our entire motorhome?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes. And they're interested in checking it out too. Mainly because of something that we might have picked up on the top of the mountain. Ooh, that's interesting. In the wheels or in the structure or in the plasma or something in the zone itself. It's almost like they gave the motorhome a bath, like not of water, but a cleansing.
Decontamination.
Decontamination, yes. And you and I, a decontamination as well. And they only had so much time and they were in a big hurry and it had to be done right away.
They often are, yeah.
Wow.
They do thousands of sorties a day, so I imagine they have a tight schedule to keep.
Yeah, and they were honored to do it. They were, and they say they don't ever have feelings, but they were fearful for us. There was some fear for us for
What is that?
for our longevity, for bodily harm.
Well, who'd they think would harm us?
Whoever was up on that mountain, not them.
Oh, it's a government mountain, is it?
Yes, but I'm getting like, do not talk about it on there. Oh, do you hear my throat, right? That was funny.
We were on that mountain. We were on that mountain.
But we don't, it's funny, neither one of us remember what the name of it was. And I cannot remember the name of it.
It's the highest mountain in the Santa Monica Range, so look that up and you'll know.
All right, do you want me to stay there? Are you done? Or you got another question while we're there? Or
Yeah. Well,
okay. All right.
not really, I guess, but
Okay. So they're gonna then they dropped us back down. And they were a little bit off of where they dropped us. And it's funny, they think they gave us almost a better route than what we were going on. Mainly, it had to be straight in order to land that big of a bus. What we were on was a little bit more curvy.
no, they took us off our route, and it would take a lot longer to get home than it would have otherwise.
Yeah.
So
But it had to be a straight landing for us, is why.
yeah,
That's the thing. And they couldn't do it in the curve that we were in.
and they had to make sure that nobody saw us too. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't be easy.
No.
We're not around here anyway.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm starting to get like a little bit of a headache. So I'm gonna come out of it, all right?
All right.
Which I normally don't get. That was fun.
It's a government headache.
I don't know what it is, but it was like I shouldn't talk about it. So
Why is that? Why not?
um because they don't want a lot of looky-loos up there spoiling whatever they're doing.
You shouldn't talk about what exactly.
Um the site itself.
I guess they had to block off the road if they don't want people going up there now, shouldn't they?
Right. It's just like no one ever goes up there though. They don't have to do that. It's like no one ever goes up there. But that's not true because we found that they do.
Yeah. I guess they'll try to shoot us next time, huh?
I hope not.
We'll disappear.
Yeah, but we'll probably go back there, I think.
Yeah, we'll go back there at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
And we'll tell everybody they're going there beforehand. So if they shoot us, then
We'll bring a group with it.
come back on us. Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
bring 100 people with us.
Yeah. Well,
Occupy that peak. Occupy everywhere.
well, we were looking at doing a sky watch because we thought that would be really fun, right? I think we thought
maybe they're making hybrid people up there or something, or human animal hybrids.
well, let's hope so. That would be an interesting thing to come up on, right?
I suppose, but I guess they don't want us to know about it.
I guess not. Well, they're protecting us, Steve.
We should have 100 people up there and just knock right on the door and say, "Let us in," and everybody filming with their cell phones.
Right, and we can handle the truth, right? Well, our audience today is really quiet. I think it's the quietest we've had our people in a very long time.
Well, speak up, damn it.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go.
Cindy says baby book. Let's see. So Cindy says hi. Hi, Cindy.
We're risking our lives here doing this show. You're quiet. I don't know what the hell is up with that.
Quiet. Hello, Barbara. Let's see. Sherry Lads. Hi, Sherry. There's our Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Good to see you. Whenever we want to look up something, we have Sherry. For some reason, she's our for that, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you.
Sherry, yeah.
Yeah, Sherry Ladd, she's awesome. And Pinky, hi Pinky. Thank a veteran for their services. Happy Veterans Day. That's from
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
Where did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. They're cutting us off.
Where did it come from? I have no idea.
Fuck you, up yours, you government idiots.
All right, so that is funny. Leslie Young, hello. Okay, Steve. All right. Oh, your sound is off. Aw. So, all right. That's funny. Well, it was quite an adventure we went on. It really was. And we did have, how much missing time do you think we had?
About an hour, I think.
That's what I was thinking, 45 minutes to an hour. And that's not uncommon with people.
No, it's not uncommon at all. You can have up to 3 hours, sometimes up to maybe in rare occasions up to 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I have another question that I'd like to go unless our audience has a question for us. Sherry and Pinky and okay, so my question was, is humanity a threat to other off-planet civilizations?
I'd have to say yes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're turning up this planet, and they've told me that this planet is very important to 4 or 5 major alien races.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of what I was told too was that
I think a couple of them would have wiped us all out by now if they hadn't been stopped by other alien races on the council.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's been said that humans are somebody's bioweapon. I'm not sure that's not true.
We were talking about that the other day. I'd never.
This species is incredibly destructive. We're incredibly destructive, or I'm not going to say we because I'm not sure I'm even one of them anymore. But they, normal humans, are incredibly destructive.
And we talked about that, and you and I have a little bit of a difference of opinion on that. Mainly because I think if we were left alone, oh, I remember my comeback to you was, well, if everyone had $1 million, that would change everything. That maybe,
It might, I'm not sure.
well, I don't think we would have war so much. People would want to just take care of their families, and is that more of a utopia? But just take care of your family and friends and create and manifest. And
Well, I'm not sure that would stop people sadly from killing everything in sight. That's the main problem that we have with normal humans is they kill everything that's around them. And if it's alive, they want to kill it.
that's I have to it probably shows because we're doing so many things wrong because our planet is so out of balance, and it hasn't just happened in a day. It's happened over hundreds of years of humanity, right? But if we could learn, I think we could learn how to change. And we were talking also, like, I live in LA, and back in the 60s, 70s, the pollution was so bad that the skies were brown, and that it has gotten a lot better pollution wise.
Yeah, pollution's gotten better, but pollution is not the main problem anyway. The main problem is habitat destruction for where people want to pave over and put houses on everything that wildlife needs to survive. And also the problem is that humans kill everything they come in contact with. And I don't know if giving everybody $1 million will change that.
Well, no, I just thought if they would give them, I think that's why we're working on expanding people's consciousness in a way, right? Is it a key to all of this? If we're taught how to grow up and be responsible and be active.
I suppose. I don't know if it's my thought or theirs, but I think it's too little, too late.
Oh, but I'm such an optimist. I'm thinking, no, there is, we can't. I didn't come here to watch this planet
Well,
implode.
I mean, for example, I don't think this is really not true at all. I think it's a very maybe, if anything, an optimistic projection. I've heard several reports that elephants worldwide are going to be extinct in 20 years. How's that make you feel?
Well, where I go with that is that we've done a pretty good job with whales not being extinct, right? And it brought the public information.
That's in the ocean. That's not on land where people live.
Well, but I think if we're aware of it, I'm going to join a Save the Elephant. Hey, Sherry, if you're out, Sherry, maybe you could find us a Save the Elephant. But this is what we were talking about too. As long as if we do give money, that it doesn't go to administration and not to helping save the elephant.
I do not think that giving money is the solution to this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that eliminating the people from those areas is the solution to this, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So we can move them out and give them some habitat, give them their land back, give the elephants their true land back, right?
Elephants need a tremendous amount of land to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure. I'm really not sure that 7 billion people on this planet is sustainable, especially with current attitudes and with the current level of technology.
Mm-hmm. Well, Pinky Lee says humans are slowly harming the earth. If everyone had $1 million, some will always want more. It was just an analogy of it.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that giving everybody $1 million would solve this. It's not totally. It would make things better, but it wouldn't solve it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, so Pinky, find us an elephant, do some research and help us find an elephant organization so we can help save the elephants. Maybe that'll be our thing here for that's I feel like that's something we can do, is put it out there and see what we can do. What do you think, Steve?
I think dropping hydrogen bombs on every major city in Africa would make the elephants thrive. That's what I think. I think that people and major wildlife like this are incompatible, is what I think. And I think that human presence in continents like Africa, where there's a lot of wildlife and that needs to be protected, I think that human presence there needs to be minimized.
Yeah, I think it could be if we could give them some land back. Sherry found Sheldrick Wildlife Trust.org. That's Sheldrick Wildlife Trust.org. And you can adopt a rescued orphan. So that's a good start. But if we could help just put them back in their natural habitat, right?
What natural habitat would that be? I mean, we're destroying their habitat left, right, and center.
Right. I bet someone
they're paving over everything.
I bet someone started something like that there. They have, you know, who would be a good contact for us would be Michael Tellinger, right? Do you know Michael very well, Steve? Do you know him?
No, I don't.
No, I don't either, but he lives in Africa and that would be a contact for us. See, this is how things get started though, right? We're going to start
I'm kind of prejudiced, I guess, because my own experience with people in Africa has been pretty rotten. The national pastime of people in Nigeria, for example, seems to be to try to scam Americans.
Yeah. Well, not everybody, but
it's bad enough where if anybody on the internet says anything in any way, shape, or form about being associated with Africa, I block them. I'm not inherently, prejudiced or whatever, but I don't want to be taken advantage of. And they're taking advantage of not only the wildlife, but the people around it.
Well, we're going to have some changes. Changes are coming because there has to be, and we're a part of that change and a part of that positive change. And Pinky says there's so much life needing saved, not only the elephants, but tigers, whales, and bears. So it's true. I just take one thing and go for it, right? Put some time into it, put some research into it, and see if we could get 1 million people doing it. It would help. I would think we could change it around, flip it around.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a Gandhi-sized movement, but some type of movement. Oh, Sherry's on it. nationalparkrescue.org. Oh, that one's good.
Maybe they should put a giant fence around Lagos, Nigeria, and stick every lion, tiger, and bear in the area on these people.
Well, yeah, make it a natural habitat that way, right?
Yum, eat them up.
Yeah, this wildlife is disappearing. Africa's frontline emergency service rescuing dying national parks and the wildlife they protect.
No, I'm not even close to kidding. If something is not done real soon, mega wildlife in Africa will be exterminated.
Well, that's what they're saying here. Wildlife is disappearing. We have a 10-year window to stop the killing. But I'd like to see what they've done, what they are doing. But I'm going to put nationalparkrescue.org.
They're not going to do SHIT, in my opinion, until all the people are out of there. I mean, they're too. Don't even get me started.
Okay. Well, National Park Rescue. We save national parks on the edge of collapse. Our brave staff hunt armed poachers, not donors. We
They ought to use those laser weapons in orbit to wipe out these poachers stalking in the wilderness to kill the elephants.
oh,
They could zap them from orbit if they wanted to.
well, maybe we should talk to someone about that. We
Maybe
reconnect
we could.
communities with national parks. We recruit 90% of our staff from our own communities. Wow. Oh, they look good. It looks good. We empower disadvantaged women. See, I would want to get boots on the ground and go talk and see for myself. We halt irreversible destruction, just like the Amazon rainforest or the melting ice caps. It's difficult for people to comprehend that once a major national park is gone, it's gone, along with all of the wildlife that once called it home. National parks may be thousands of square kilometers, protecting thousands of elephants and other wildlife.
Well, if our government would do anything constructive for a change, which I doubt they will, they would sign on to projects like this. I think if the next 2 or 3 groups of poachers that went out all disappeared, I think that that might change things.
Yeah. Well, this sounds great, Sherry Ladd. Thanks for finding this. Every dollar helps save wildlife. The environment only receives 3% of all charitable giving, and just a fraction of this goes toward effective wildlife protection. So every dollar counts. We achieve so much on so little by being highly streamlined and strategic in our work. So your hard-earned donation is never wasted on common charity practices. I don't know. It sounds like it's worth checking.
I know I'm right about this too, because like I said, the areas in the world where people are scared to go or aren't allowed to go, wildlife is thriving. We are definitely causing this about the wildlife disappearance.
Yeah. No, they said armed poachers are killing wildlife today. Inaction is the biggest killer. That's what you're talking about, Steve. Take action. I love that. And so they have a Facebook page, they have a Twitter, oh, they have a YouTube as well, and Instagram, and they have an
Either
email.
the people need to be wiped out completely, or they have to do something where if a poacher picks up a gun and goes out into the wilderness to shoot an elephant or whatever, they have about a 1% chance or less of surviving. They need to do one or the other if we're going to survive, if we're going to make these wildlife survive. Shit, there's more people, or there's more tigers alive in captivity in the U.S. than there are in the wild right now. That's another example.
Yeah.
Tigers are going to be extinct in the wild pretty soon too, if something is done.
Oh, well, we're going to do something. I don't know what, but we're going to find something. We're going to do something, okay? As of tonight. So thanks for letting us be aware of the elephants and our wildlife. I know it's something that's dear to your heart, Steve, because I've heard you talk about it on many occasions. And let's see what we can do. You know, what we can do. Each one of us counts. So if each one of us can get together and do something. So I want to research it over the weekend, and maybe we could have them on the air. Come and talk to us on the air. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's good, but I think that unless drastic action is taken, it's going to be too little, too late. And I bet you $1,000 that whoever you get on the air is going to be talking about last century type stuff. That's going to be too little, too late if that's all they do.
Well, we'll come up with some ideas, and to our listeners, if you have some ideas of how you think you can help or how we can move forward at a quicker pace, please contact Steve at Steve _ Colbern, COLBERN.
S_Colbern.
Steve _ Colbern.
S_Colbern at yahoo.com.
That's right.
Or at 805-625-2549.
That's right. S_COLBERN at yahoo.com.
Right.
or his phone number 805-625-2549. And
That's
so
right.
an alien implant or give him a chat. You'll have to leave a message. So, and he'll call you back. And Sherry Lads, thank you so much for coming in on it. We really appreciate it. We're starting to count on you. So she says, Sherry says, there's always hope when one takes a stand. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're taking a stand for the elephants, and we're going to take some action. So,
Well, talking like a guy with cancer, for example. I don't want hope. I want a fucking, excuse me. I want a solution to this.
okay. Well,
If nothing's done soon, these animals are going to become extinct, and I do not think that's acceptable.
It's not. I agree with you. And so we have some righteous anger to get powered up and to take some righteous action and to make a change. And we can do that. So let's work on the elephant wildlife. Let's see what we can do. Okay. I'm down for it. I know you are. So
Right.
I'm to take a stand officially tonight. So thank you, Steve Colbern, for being a wonderful, delightful co-host this evening on the Cosmic Oracle Show. And thanks to all of our people for tuning in. Thanks, Sherry. I'm glad I got to, for some reason, I wasn't seeing any of your responses to Sherry Ladd. Thank you for your technical expertise. Pinky Lee, your comments and wisdom. And to, let's see who else I got here really quick. To Cindy Schaefer, thank you so much with your love and your energy. And we started off even with Leslie Young. So thanks everyone for tuning in. You can contact me at barbarajeanlindsey.com, or you can find me here on Facebook under Barbara Jean Lindsey, Lindsey. That's a good Scottish name it is, or here on Facebook. So under the Cosmic Oracle Show. So we'll see you next week. Go out and find out about the elephants for us, right? And see what we can do. Let's make a plan. I always like plans. Let's make a plan and let's take some action. Big love to everybody. Thank you again. And we'll see you next week on the Cosmic Oracle Show with our new host, Steve Colbern, and myself. So,
and don't forget my motto: bad guys should all be exterminated.
That's right. Someone's going to put that. We have a friend that's going to put that on a sickle for you, right?
Yeah.
That guy should be exterminated. I love that. All right, everybody. All right. Big love to everybody. See you next week. Thanks, Steve.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.